Content creator, you ask, what is that? Well, these days, all kinds of creative people are creating channels to distribute content to audiences on channels like YouTube and Slack and many, many, many more. And we're all consuming it, and some of us are even creating it. So for this Sessions Live event, we have a wonderful guest who's a content creator, bona fide YouTuber. And the reason that we're having this event is that many of our students at Sessions College have expressed interest in content creation, what's involved, how do I get started in this chat. We have Tristan Becker, who is the manager, director, videographer, content creator, everything to do with the Toadsmoothie channel, which is a very, very successful YouTube channel dedicated to his passion, which is the hit game Destiny 2. Tristan, welcome to this chat.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to talk shop, talk all things YouTube, content creation. I'm very passionate about this kind of stuff, so I'll try to keep my answers brief, but give you everything you need to hopefully get set on that path.
Well, we are very excited to talk to you, and to talk to you here, we have myself. I'm Gordon Drummond. I'm the president of Sessions College, and we also have our dean, Dr. Meryl Epstein, who's a photographer and a designer, and many, many other things. So Meryl is going to join us in kind of uncoding what it is that Tristan does. Say hello, Meryl.
Hello, everyone. Glad you made it.
Okay, great. Well, Tristan, it's great to meet you, and we've been talking about this for a long time at Sessions to get to really talk to content creation, because it's such a new field. Really, seems like the last 5 to 10 years where it's really flourished, and so many of our students are consumers and participants in this whole universe. So, can you start by just telling us about your channel, which is called Toadsmoothie, and it's focused on the hit game Destiny 2. Just give us a brief overview of what it's about and what the audience of the channel is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously you already mentioned that it's Destiny related, so it's a gaming channel. And it's mainly, I mean, it's I guess it can be boiled down to two things. It's kind of surrounds me and my friends, and it's a funny moment style thing. So, it's like, we'll go through, do an activity. I take the footage. Me and my friends tend to have a lot of really good chemistry with each other. I take that footage, cut it down, add any necessary edits or sound effects to make it funnier, maybe a 10 to 20 minute video. And then that goes out, a thumbnail, title, packaging, all of that. It's really just that simple. It's like me and my friends playing the game. Obviously target audience is like people who play the game, specifically people who are maybe more casually into the game, because it's no secret that I'm not the best at the game, and I think people kind of I kind of have a reputation for not being that good at the game. I mean, I think I'm pretty good at the game, but people who are much better than me will clown on me for not being as good. And I think that actually makes it a little bit more relatable for people. So people find some solace in that. But yeah, it's really just about sharing those moments. It's about Destiny, but really it's about me and my friends and sharing the journey that we have on this game. I mean, the game's been running for a really long time, and we've all been here for a really long time. So
can you address that? Like, how long have you had the channel? And if you don't mind, like, how big is the channel now? How do you kind of assess the success of it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've had the channel for a long time, but I've been doing this full time for like 5 years. So around the pandemic was really when I picked it up. And yeah, in that time we went from starting at 0 to now we're about to hit 150,000 subscribers, I think. So it's been really, really just fantastic, like, to see everything grow, to see people be so receptive to it, to get my friends in on it. It's been great. It's not like 150,000 is a lot of people. It's not the biggest channel in the world, but I'm one guy. I'm like, I know that's a lot of people. I know that's hard to quantify, that's hard to imagine. So it's really cool. It's humbling. It's very flattering, but it's awesome. It's awesome to see people just having fun, because ultimately that's what we like to do, just have fun. Don't take it too seriously, right?
Well, that's great. And again, we're just so glad to speak with you. To give our audience a sense of your show, we've asked you to create a presentation. So if we could just spend a few minutes enjoying that, and then we'll continue with the interview. So you're on.
All right, go ahead and hit play. So this is a 2 to 3 minute reel of bits from a bunch of the different types of videos. Because I know it's a lot and it's very quickly edited, I've put a little text box on the bottom left or right of the screen just to kind of generally describe what the video is that you're looking at. It'll say like funny moments, or it'll say, whatever just the genre video is. Anyway, let's go ahead and take Oh, look at this. Over the years, we've seen many interesting characters enter the Destiny universe, but few have managed to reach the popularity of Rhulk, the first disciple of the Witness. And it's easy to understand why. His uncanny design, menacing voice, and uncaring attitude give him this undeniable aura. However, the thing that really took players by surprise was his primary method of attack. This kicking attack became a core memory for many players and launched Rhulk's aura to an all-time high.
We are on the moon, bro. Where do you think he's gonna get that from?
Bruh.
The moon people.
The moon people.
I actually wrestled with my loadout for a while here. I was worried about surviving the big Hive Knights, and so I didn't know if Void, Prismatic, or Solar for the synergy with Sunshot would be the best option. But I ended up using Sunshot, mainly so I had an excuse to use Solar. I'm also bringing Mountaintop for good measure. We're going in with actually, like, really good weapons here, so... Jesus, man, I'm gonna have a heart attack playing this game. Do we go now? We're already going in. Okay, guys, do not let me forget to check the symbols.
Okay. Dude, I'm just using my SMG, and then when it runs out of ammo, I just look at you because I can't land it. In today's video, my friends and I set out with one simple objective: reach the lighthouse in Trials of Osiris.
It's gonna be 50-50, and that's better odds.
Just push him. I agree. Donovan, why is the Excalibur still out?
I'm the only one that got a kill last game or last match.
That doesn't mean that it worked.
That was Warlock melee. He just blinked in front of me because I put it away because you were yelling at me.
No, you
if I had it ready.
You did not put it away.
I did. I was holding last right. I was holding last
I
right.
flashed my... Donovan, when we say we're done...
Catalyst! Monticardo Catalyst!
No, he's running. He's one shot. Oh, nice Stacy. Don't let the Stacy do it.
What?
No.
Donovan, you are horrendous.
What?
Hey, Donovan.
No. To the right, little guy. The right. Right. Turn. No, right. Now. Turn. Oh my God. You've got one job.
How are you still here?
Come on. Back. Whoa!
Come on, get up. Whoa, easy on the ship.
Sorry.
All right, there we go. So that was a very, high octane reel. A lot that happened there. I know there is a lot to unpack from all of that. I will do my best to explain it. I can also bring things up on my end as well. It's very easy for me to drag things in Premiere and elaborate on certain things if you'd like me to. But yes, anyway, back to you guys. Questions.
That's great. No, that's great. So, when someone looks at that, they think, oh, well, that's really cool. But, you make it look simple, but it's not. So just wondering for our folks who might be interested in knowing sort of behind the scenes, what kind of workflow do you employ to create your content, particularly the animated content? Like how does this all happen? A little bit.
Yes. So there's two workflows, two distinctly different workflows. There's the one that's much easier and simpler, and that's the funny moments style with friends. And then there's the animated stuff. The funny moments is simple enough. I mean, I put a lot of time into it, but it's easy to explain. It's like you record it, I take that, I do a voiceover, edit. It's like pretty straightforward process, all things considered. The animated side of things is much more involved. I have the Premiere timeline pulled up for the most recent animated episode right now, just so I can show you how massive it is. But I'll explain before that, going into it. Essentially, the way it works is I write the story for those animated bits. I have this whole story that we're writing. Me and my friends are the characters. You saw a little bit of that towards the end there. And I also have, I'm big into animation. I really like animation. I really like film storytelling and whatnot, but I have a motion capture suit that helps me to act out the animations, act out the movements, and then bring that into my 3D software called Blender for the actual, making the scenes and whatnot. That's the Cliff Notes version. But after that, after it's all that is done and rendered, which, I mean, we're talking, this takes like months. It takes a long time for like a single episode, and in a single episode might be anywhere between 10 and 30 minutes. It's a really, really involved thing. After that, you take the scenes that you render out and you bring them into what I will share right now again is the premiere screen. And this is where I guess the magic happens. So this is disgusting. Let me scroll down here and lower the volume. So if I accidentally play anything, it doesn't like blare out. So I'll just go right to that bit that we were just kind of looking at. Here is the premiere track for that sequence that we were just watching. This is a big fight sequence that me and actually one of my buddies, he helped me to animate some of this. If I go right up here, you can see what we have going there. But all these down here, specifically, you have the sound effects they take a long time because you need to account for every subtle movement. There is custom music that I have made for these things. It gets really complicated really fast. But, when it's all said and done, you get a very nice looking, hopefully cohesive movie. It's very cool. It's very satisfying. There's a lot of iterating, but yeah, it's awesome. I really, really like doing this kind of stuff, even though it takes a really, really long time.
I want to get into that. I mean, so you've taken on yourself not only to be a content creator, but really to kind of get into the animation side of creating the content.
Yes.
There's this of an old saw about like it takes 50 people and 1,000 hours or something to create 1 hour of TV content, at least in the old days. It takes a lot of time, doesn't it, to create something that's really high quality and really engaging?
Oh,
you
yeah.
thought about the amount of time it takes for you to create an hour of content?
Yeah, for it depends on, the hour that we're talking, but if it's all animated, like I just finished the first season of our story here, which was 7 episodes long, and I stitched it together to make a movie, which is about 2 hours and 13 minutes. And that took me a year and a half, not of constant work.
Yeah.
It was, doing this as a passion project on the side while also making other videos to pay the bills and keep up sponsorships. But it takes a while. I mean, if I was really, really going at it to make like a 10 to 20 minute episode, depending on the severity of it or the intensity of the episode, it could take, months. Like you said, it takes a lot just to make a couple seconds of footage. Even a regularly edited video, which is just funny moments, there was that bit at the beginning of the reel over here with this whole thing where there's a bunch of motion graphics on screen. There's a lot of moving parts. That takes a really long time. This is like 10 seconds of footage, but that took me like a whole day. So it's really just about how much is happening on screen. How intense is it?
And we're calling this show "Following Your Passion as a Content Creator" purposely because I think we talked about this earlier. Like you don't regard yourself as an influencer. You regard yourself as a content creator who's modified. You're motivated by your passion for the game originally, right? But then you must have also got into the aspect of communicating your passion because it's you that decided to spend hours and hours and hours to create a really exciting show.
Yeah, I've been into YouTube and film, but really I guess YouTube was the gateway into it since I was really little. Back in the original OG Minecraft days, I was very inspired by Minecraft YouTubers. This same channel that I have actually used to be a Minecraft channel when I was like 8. They were the big pillars of influence, and I think they were influenced a lot of us. I think a lot of people my age probably grew up watching the same people. And it really shaped, I think, the way we see content, the way we interact with the internet. And it was those Minecraft YouTubers and an old Halo show, a show for the game Halo. It was a fan-made show called Red vs. Blue, which, if anyone has seen Red vs. Blue, it's, pretty much beat for beat. It's the same thing that I'm doing here with these animated bits, but for a different game. The people from Red vs. Blue and the Minecraft YouTubers were like pillars of influence. And from there, I just wanted to make videos.
So
Just
did
wanted to
you-
make videos.
Did you just jump into making videos? You decided one day, okay, at whatever age this was, you said, "Oh, I can do that. I'm watching this on the screen, so I understand this. I'm going to make this stuff."
It's a growth period. Like, I mean, like I mentioned, I have been making videos in some capacity for pretty much my whole life, but none of them saw the internet. Most of them didn't see the internet. And I think through that time, every time you make a video, you're learning and you're getting more and more comfortable with it. And I'll look at a video I made 3 years ago and feel like, wow, that was horrible. There was so much I could have done better there. But as far as when I decided to, actually start taking it seriously, I mentioned that I started during the pandemic, and it was actually because my fiance, then girlfriend at the time, got into college and I didn't. So I needed to fill my time, and I knew I liked making videos, so I just gave it a shot, and it worked, thankfully. But it definitely, it's a slow burn. I think a lot of people see this type of stuff and they think, oh, well, he just knows how to edit, or he just knows how to do this, or they got lucky, the algorithm blessed them, when that's not really how it works.
I know it's sort of evolved, but when we had talked about stuff earlier, you talked about sort of sliding doors moment. You had a job opportunity and then you decided to pursue this. So what was you said, no, I'm going to go this route. I mean, you talked about just now that you had some time to work on it, but what was it that you said, okay, I can do this? I think that's the biggest thing, is like sometimes people choose not to pursue something because they wait till it's perfect, and you learn along the way. So what made you decide, I can do this, at least I'm going to start and see where it goes?
Yeah, so I started making videos kind of for fun around the pandemic. They weren't really going anywhere, but I was having fun with it. It was the phase of content creation that I call, you're just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks. It's no one's watching you yet. If you mess up, no one's gonna see it. And then there was one day, I don't remember exactly when it was. I guess it was probably around May of 2021. I had applied to work at a pet store, a local pet store, and they interviewed me. They offered me the job. It's not a high bar. It was a pet store, but that same day, the reason I turned that down is I had my first video. I think it was like break 1,000 views. It wasn't my first one to break 1,000 views, but it was the first one to break it quickly. And that was the sign to me that I had maybe done something right. And I had even felt when making the video that I had started to hit a bit of a stride. It was a video where I was taking my fiance's account, her Destiny account, through a really difficult activity that she wasn't good enough to clear, because there was a reward at the end of it that she wanted, that she thought was cute. And so I got it for her, and I chronicalized that and made it into a video. And something about the style, the editing, the storytelling, it really resonated with people, and it resonated with me. And that was reflected in the viewership. And shortly after that, I was able to get monetized on YouTube, which is like 1,000 subscribers and I think it might be 1,000 hours of watch time. And from there, I was like, a job at the pet store is not worth potentially squandering something really cool that I have going here. So I'm going to pursue this and see what happens. And thankfully I did. But it was I don't know, it felt very, I would say it felt very cliche and cinematic the way it happened. I felt way cooler than I was over the phone, telling them that I didn't want the job because I had something else I was working on. But yeah, I think it just all happened at the perfect time,
Well,
and
that's great. I commend you for paying attention to those small little clues, that it's worth the leap, as it were. So now you've been doing it for a while. As you mentioned earlier, you've been doing your channel probably publicly about 5 years. Is that about right, you think?
yes, yeah.
So, how many shows have you produced so far? And when did you think your channel has reached a peak or a new level or something like that?
Yeah, so I actually don't know exactly how many videos, but it's in the hundreds. I want to say it's like less than 300 or 400, but it's somewhere around there. It's a lot. And as far as like peak is concerned, I think there's an answer to that. It was like 2 years ago, maybe a year or two ago, Destiny was at its like all-time high of popularity. And it was actually even before that. I think it was 2023. It might have been 2023 or 2024. Me and my friends, it was kind of the perfect storm. There was an expansion that just came to the game called Lightfall that people actually really didn't like, but we were all having so much fun with it that it made it the peak for me, because I think it was reflective in our content. It was just nonstop. I mean, I was putting stuff out constantly. People were really resonating with it. We were having a great time. It was like on the release day for the expansion, I was able to raise money in one of my live chats to buy my buddy Donovan a PlayStation 5 because he was still playing on a PlayStation 4. Like, those memories all happening in the space of like 2 weeks, that to me is like the peak of the channel. As far as just me and my friends having a good time, I'm more proud of the stuff that came after that. But I tend to measure things in how much fun are we having, and that was definitely how much fun we were having with it.
There's definitely a ton of fun coming through on each of the episodes. I mean, obviously, it's important to be creating fun experiences. I want to ask about the content. Because the episodes that you showed, or the excerpts you showed earlier, are obviously not just having fun. They're different kinds of content. You've got fun with friends, you've got kind of playthroughs, you've got animation, you've got various different kinds of ways of presenting content, because, obviously you want to offer some kind of variety. How did you think about the different kinds of shows or episodes you were going to create?
So it was kind of a gradual push, but then a more forceful one, because I started to realize that I've been talking a lot about me and my friends, and ultimately at the end of the day, this is my job. It's how I make money, and so I realized my friends aren't always on the game. They don't always want to play, and ultimately I have the most to gain here from getting them to come on and do silly challenges that take hours and hours and hours. Like, they don't always want to do that. And so I started realizing maybe 2 years ago, and it's always kind of been in my head, but it was like, okay, some of my friends aren't really playing the game anymore. I have to really try hard to get some of them on. I need to start figuring out how I can do this more myself, and also in a way that's still very fulfilling to me. And so that's when you start to see the animated series come into play. That's when you see some of the more highly edited videos that are just by myself, or like solo challenges with just me and like the live chat, or I'm going through an activity by myself. That's, I think, when some of my friends started to fizzle out, that was when I really felt the urge to start branching out a little bit, still in the realm of Destiny, but different kinds of content.
When was it that you started getting sponsors, or like you launched it on your own, I imagine, and then you got attention, and then so how did that evolve? You don't have to give me all specifics, but just curious.
Yeah, so when you there's kind of, I guess, a couple stages to like YouTube monetization. When you hit 1,000 subscribers and you hit whatever the watch hours are, you can monetize your channel, which means that when people watch your videos, YouTube will put ads on them if you tell it to. And just people watching your video will generate revenue. Now, that's, I guess, kind of stage one. Stage two, which is, I think, kind of where I fall, is like, okay, your channel is big enough now and attracts enough of an audience that other brands start to reach out to you via your email linked in your YouTube to do sponsored segments. Like, my first sponsorship ever, so some people will know, is Raid Shadow Legends. It was a mobile game. They reached out wanting to do a spot on the channel. And of course I was excited. I'm like, this is free money. And sponsorships are incredibly vital to a YouTuber sustaining themselves. I think, most viewers that probably don't mind it. Some people do, but ultimately it's, it's really important. Like, I don't know if I could really do what I do without the help of sponsors, because sometimes there aren't many views. Sometimes there are dry spells, and you start relying on things like sponsors, or you have the option on YouTube to do like memberships, which is like your followers pay a certain amount every month just to support you more, get some exclusive perks or whatever. But yeah, that was, I don't remember when I got my first sponsor. It was definitely before, like, I think it was around the 30,000 subscriber mark. But it's really, I don't think it's about subscribers. I think it's really about views. They just want to know that your video is going to bring views and put eyes on their product.
I want to ask about skills and gear. Skills, first of all, because there's so much skill evident in creating the video, thinking about the audio, thinking about the pacing of everything, even the storytelling aspect. You're natural in your personality, and your personality comes through as well. And obviously, that's not something that you plan. How did you learn to do what you do? Because it sounds like you got your channel, you set a goal, and you said, I want to edit, and I want the show to look like this, but then you had to go learn some skills in order to do it. So
yeah, so I mentioned earlier that this whole thing is a long burn, and I think anyone's content creation journey, especially in the beginning, is going to be a slow burn. Because I started editing, I guess, not professionally or anything like that, when I was really, really little. I mean, maybe 7 or 8. We talked about the Minecraft days. My dad handed me a copy of Sony Vegas Pro, and I just started making stuff on that. And then it evolved, and I got to a point where I was like, okay, I made some of my first YouTube videos on this channel that are still public on Sony Vegas. And I was like, this program sucks. I need something better. So then, I upgraded to Premiere, and it's been my go-to ever since. But really, like a lot of people, of course, I have things like the motion capture suite that allow me to do animation in bulk easier than most people can. And Premiere is obviously a paid program. And my computer, like we talked about before the stream here, is like it's a piece of equipment. It's important. And I know not everyone has like a super beefy computer or a mocap suit. Like that kind of stuff I know is price prohibitive. But really what I've always kind of told people, like I've told family members of mine this and friends, is like, if you have, I know it sounds kind of cliche to say, but it's like, if you have a camera or just like a phone or a laptop or even your phone nowadays, you can edit on CapCut. That is enough to get started, get your foot in the door. Because the thing is I think, like Meryl said earlier, a lot of people tend to wait until they have something perfect to share it, because they don't want to be perceived. They don't want to be, put something out there that might be embarrassed about. But I'm here to tell you, quite frankly, like, you're going to put stuff out that you will be embarrassed about later. I'm embarrassed about certain stuff I put out a year ago, but it's still on the channel because I learned from it. And like a buddy of mine said recently, when talking about a similar thing, he was like, a lot of people don't understand that, like, that stuff you put out early on, don't worry about messing up, because no one's going to see it. No one's going to see it for a while. It's okay if you mess up. It truly is. And honestly, I think it's cool. I've gotten comments before of people saying, they go back to watch old videos and they watch newer ones. They're like, it's so cool to see how much you've grown. And I think that's why I keep everything on the channel. I don't private anything, because I think it's important for people to see. I know that this type of animation and this editing can be inspirational to people. I also know it can make some people feel like they're not good enough. And so I want people to be able to see, like, no, you have to start somewhere. You have to start with CapCut. You have to start with Vegas Pro. You have to start animating by hand, sketches in your sketchbook before you can, really turn it into something that you will always be proud of.
Aha, I like the sound of that. Sketches in a sketchbook. So you set out with a goal, and it sounds like you commit to a project and the way you want something to be, and then you aim for it. And if there's something you need to learn, you go and get it. So you didn't formally learn any of this. You didn't take a content creator course 101 or whatever.
No, absolutely not. I mean, it was just watching YouTube. YouTube was my primary form of content consumption growing up. So just became very familiar with it naturally.
I'll jump in on one of our other questions about the gear. So you talked about, you've got motion capture, so you've got a snazzy computer. I'm sure that sort of upgrade along the way. So you had a computer, headphones, obviously, mic, what else? A software. Just give us a little idea about the stuff, the basics, and how it's evolved a little bit.
Yeah, so I think if I go back to, the first Destiny video I made is probably a good landmark, because it was like 6 years ago. That was on my laptop with, I don't even remember what the microphone was. There certainly was a microphone. No, it was a blue Snowball from Amazon. It's like a $15 microphone. A lot of people start with that one. It was the Snowball, the laptop, and that was basically it. And Sony Vegas Pro, the editing. But again, nowadays you could use something like CapCut, which is free. Now, that's since, of course, upgraded. It's like, okay, instead of one monitor, you got two. You got a nicer mic, you got a nicer camera, a nicer computer, but it's all still the same stuff. I think it's not necessarily really the mocap suit is the only real big piece of like tech that I've added to my arsenal. Everything else is just, oh, it'd be cool if I had another monitor. It'd be cool if I had a better mic, better camera. There's a very popular YouTuber though, Moist Critical or Penguin Z0, I think is his screen name, where his whole kind of thing is that his stuff isn't very high quality. Every video, he has millions of subscribers. Every video, his mic is a wired phone mic. He still has wired headphones in his ears. And I'm sure his stuff is upgraded over time. But yeah, it's more of like upgrading is a luxury, but it's definitely not a need. I think the need is like, yeah, you're going to want a microphone. You're going to want a computer or a phone of some sort and an editing software. If you want to do this kind of editing, of course, or this kind of content creation. There's all types of content creation out there.
Yeah. Like you said, I mean, it's basic. It's like you have to have something to sound. You need a computer. All those things, and it evolves over time. So that being said, how did your community evolve? Like you put your video out there. You fingers crossed someone's going to watch. Tell everybody watch this. But then how did that happen? And how do you communicate with them? So that's evolved, I imagine, too. Building that community. If you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, when you start out, obviously there's not many people watching, and then hopefully people start watching, and when you start to build that community, what I've always told people is like your community that you build is always going to be a reflection of you. So some people on YouTube have very toxic communities because they put that out there. Their whole personality, the things they talk about, the way they talk about them invites toxicity. I've always been incredibly positive just because it's not an act. That's just my personality. Like I don't tend to really see the bad in things. And because of that, the community that has gathered to watch the videos are like-minded individuals. And so I'm fortunate enough that my interactions that I have with people in the comments or like live chats, or even the couple times I've met people like in person, it's always just very pleasant. But it's just, obviously over time, things get bigger. However, it's worth noting that because of just the way YouTube works and the way people work, let's say, let's say you have 100,000 subscribers and you average 50,000 views on a video. It's not, those 50,000 people aren't always necessarily going to show up. So sometimes you learn with your community that, oh, they didn't like this one. They're not just going to watch anything I put out, and then you start finding there are sub communities within your communities. Like we talk about how there are kind of two kinds of content that I make, and that is reflected in the community. In my community, there's a portion of them that really like the animated stuff, and I could talk to them about it for hours. Then there's another portion, they've never even seen it. They don't care for it. And it's really been interesting to see the sub communities form, because you almost forget that that's possible. You're like, oh, it's just my community. It's just my people. But no, it's like some of them are these people, some of them are those people. So it's been really interesting to watch that grow.
Yeah, and do you think that over time, because you have that familiarity with your audience, do you gear content for them, or you provide the content and then see what catches fire? I mean, I'm just wondering, chicken or egg kind of thing.
Oh, 100%. Like there are certain, so I've gotten to the point where I can kind of tell if a video is going to do well just by the title and thumbnail. It's like, you can just tell. You look at, I refer to the title and thumbnail as the packaging of the video. Like you can make a phenomenal video, but if you don't package it well, not as many people are going to watch it. Inverse is true. You could make a really not great video or not high quality video, and it could be packaged really well, and then so a lot of people might watch it. So there have absolutely been times where I've been like, and it sounds weird to say, but it's like, okay, I have a sponsor on this video. I want this video to do well. I'm going to put this sponsor on one of our challenge videos where it's like me and my friends doing an activity, but handicapping ourselves to make it funnier or make it take longer. Because historically, those perform very well. Those are more wide reaching, even outside of my audience. People that comes across in their feed and you go, oh, there's no way they were able to do that. I have to see how this goes. Rather than something like the series, which is more personal, people outside my audience are very unlikely to give it a chance. I kind of know posting that, okay, I know who's going to watch this. I just need them to enjoy this. I don't need this to like blow up. But sometimes you're like, I got a bill to pay. I need to do a challenge video now to, make the sponsor happy and, get some views rolling in here so YouTube doesn't shadow ban me. But you know, and I'm like joking about the shadow banning, of course, but like that is definitely stuff you think about, is who is this for? Who is going to see this, you know, and who do you want to see this?
No, that's great. No, that really helps because the audience is everything, really. So as a grandparent, and as Gordon is a parent of a teenager, I was saying earlier, my grandson wants to be a YouTuber and a hacker. So you know, we'll see how that goes. But when and you talked a little bit about launching your channel, but what kind of guidance would you give to somebody? They say, I want, because sometimes people go, I want to be a YouTuber, but they don't know where their passion lies to make that happen. So, you know, to me, it seems like the secret sauce is you have to be passionate about the subject. So what guidance would you give someone? Say, I want to do this. I want to be you, Tristan, or, you know, as much as they can be.
I would say, so there's two really key pieces of advice. There's one that was said to me from another content creator early on, which is like, find your niche, find what makes you different, hone in on what makes you different. Because if you just keep doing the same thing that everyone else is doing, that's not going to work, just from like a viewership and then eventually monetary perspective, more often than not. But the other thing is, like you just kind of said, it all comes back to passion. If you're not passionate about what you're doing, you're not going to last, because quite honestly, like there are highs and lows of this whole thing. You know, you have to have the willpower, the patience, and the tolerance to really stick it out through those low periods when viewership falls, and not get too disheartened by it. You need to, you know, just, a lot of people, I think they see YouTube and see content creation as, I'm just going to turn the camera on and start making content, or I'm just going to boot up my game and start streaming. But that's not how it works. It's, you know, I get people coming in my chat who will roast me for not being as good at the game. Like, you literally play this game for a living. I'm like, guys, I don't play this game for a living. I edit for a living. I just happen to be editing Destiny videos. Some people who are very early adopters, you know, if you get into something before anyone else does, maybe you can get away with playing it for a living because you were the first one there. But if you're not the first one there, then you got to find what makes you different. And that is going to inevitably come with low periods, high periods, and you just have to have the patience and the tolerance to stick it out. I think that's what weeds people out.
Yeah, so it's really resilience, and, you know, not being, like I said, not being afraid of failure, and just keep going. Gordon, I'm going to defer to you because he answered lots of my other questions.
No, I know. I wanted to ask, you know, the motion capture thing fascinates me, that you've spent all this time creating movies using some of the same techniques you've been using to create shows and to play games. It's sort of all mixed together. And it makes me think about the success of those content creators who created Backrooms and Obsession this year, and how it just resonates. This kind of content resonates with people, and they want to see it on a big screen now. So how do you think, now it's possible that the Destiny 2 game, you shared the fact that there's a plan possibly to end that game at some point. Have you thought about what you would do with these skills next? For example, would you go into animation? Do you want to make other kinds of movies?
Yeah, well, the plan to end the game has been enacted. The game is basically over, but it's which is unfortunate, the way it all happened. But, you know, it has propelled especially me and this series into an interesting position of, in some level, this series, even though I started a year and a half ago and just finished the first season, is for a lot of people continuing the Destiny story even after its end, which has really resonated with a lot of people. And so in the wake of this season being over, I have a Patreon account and I've had it for a while, for people who want to like come and support specifically the animated series, because that is ultimately what I want to do. And thankfully, you know, after the first season came out and so many more eyes landed on the show, there was an influx of Patreon members, enough to allow me to just keep doing this until I'm done with the show, which is going to be 3 seasons long, I have planned, which is great. I'm super, super excited about it. And, you know, it gives me something to do, something I really has been a childhood dream of mine. Again, I mentioned Red versus Blue. There's that childhood dream coming into fruition of, I want to do that. And now I'm getting to do that. And what that's basically means for me, like job wise, is, you know, I think my fiance actually said it pretty well last night. She was like, I feel like now going forward, now that Destiny is ending and you have enough to go forward with this series, you're kind of transitioning, you're switching jobs. You're going from being a YouTuber to now you're a director. And I was like, I guess that's kind of true. I didn't really think about it that way. And so even after YouTube, after the series is done and dusted, I definitely would like to go into whether it's game design, visual effects, or animation, filmmaking. That is absolutely like I've said for a while, I don't want to do YouTube forever because it is a hamster wheel. We talked before the call about how you're thinking about YouTube constantly when it's your job. You don't clock out at 5. You're constantly thinking about it, and that's tiring. I don't want to do that forever. I want to clock in. I want to make things move and make them look cool and then leave. So that's definitely where I'd like to be headed. And Obsession in the Backrooms have been very inspiring. Not just Obsession in Backrooms, but Markiplier's Iron Lung that just came out. Lots of creators turned movie makers has been incredibly inspiring lately. So absolutely, that's the new dream, right? Is to be able to do something like that, because that's fantastic.
It's amazing what they've done. And are you in this effort? Are you starting to partner with other people with similar goals? Because it strikes me that you've got this mission with the channel, but you've got these skills. I would imagine people should be beating your door down to try to get you to create content for them or with them.
Well, I have. So I for the longest time, for the first maybe 4 years or so of doing this whole thing, I did a very bad job networking. I was very, I don't know if you would say reclusive in the community. Like I was out there, I would talk to people, but I didn't make as much of an effort as I should have to talk to other content creators or talk to other people in the 3D space. I had this very close-minded, like, I need to do this and I need to do it my way, and then they'll come to me. Not literally like that, but that was kind of the mentality, is like, well, if we meet, we meet, and if we don't, we don't. If we meet, it was meant to be. But recently, with this show wrapping its first season and just talking to more content creators around the Destiny space in general, I have fortunately been able to network with so many more like-minded individuals, especially on the animation side, who are like, we just want to see you do this and help you do this and like contribute to this in any way possible. And that's been amazing. Like, I had one of my friends of mine who goes by the name Sorcerer, like he helps me with the animation, but now we have people coming in to make music for it and help with the audio or composition or thumbnails and that sort of stuff. So getting a little team together, it's a different challenge, but I'm really excited to see how that goes going forward. It's like, okay, I've done this by myself, but now can I do it in a team? Can I project manage, essentially? And it feels good to network a little bit. It feels more like you're part of the community in that way. So big recommendation for me there. Get into content creation. Start networking early. It's shoot your shot. Shoot your shot to people. It's worth it. Good.
Very, very, very good advice. So we're getting close to the final quarter of the show, and typically we have student questions that we want to ask. When folks signed up for the event, they submitted questions, and we've got a couple of questions in the chat right here now. So if you don't mind, let's go into those. We've got Nathan asking, he says, I've started a few channels over the years, always hit a wall where I either lose momentum or feel like I'm not gaining traction, then I go back to being a viewer. What's the one thing that made you push through that barrier instead of quitting?
Oh, that's interesting. That's a good question. So I I almost did quit a couple times before the channel was monetized. But I think, obviously everyone's situation is different. I was, and still am, like I was very, very young when this whole thing started. Like, didn't really have responsibilities. My parents were kind enough to let me stay in their place as long as I was pursuing something. So there was that comfort there. But I think it was really, I trusted what I wanted to make. And I just kind of figured, well, views and the monetary side of things will come if I keep putting my best foot forward and just keep learning. Ultimately, that's all you can do, is just keep learning. And being, I would say, getting monetized, like we talked about that, sliding doors moment of, okay, I'm going to actually pursue this. Of course, getting monetized is a big thing. Like once you see, when I saw that first, you've made $5, I was like, oh my God, I'm employed. Yeah. Like I have a job. I don't want to give this up for anything. So I think pushing as long as you can. And again, other life responsibilities come up. That's inevitable, and everyone's situation is different, but it doesn't need to be a full-time thing. Like if you just have a little bit of time every day at the end of your shift and you know you want to work towards this, you know, set some time aside, record a video. It doesn't need to be, you know, your magnum opus. It can just be something you want to get out there. And again, it's not for everyone. I don't recommend this job for everyone, but if you're truly, truly passionate about it, if you really, really want to make it happen, have confidence in yourself, learn, and stay modest. Stay modest and learn. And I think you can go a long way if this is meant for you. And I think you'll find out very quickly if it's meant for you or not, because it's not for everyone.
Not for everyone. Not for everyone. So another question we got from a student, which you've addressed in certain ways, but it's just a challenging question. Elliot asked, "How do you keep a consistent posting schedule?"
That is the age-old question. That's the funny thing. You don't. No, I'm kind of kidding, but like so some people are a lot more consistent than I am. I at one point during my peak, or what I would argue is my peak, is I was posting like every week. There would be one video every week, like clockwork, and that was very draining. Granted, it was only draining because I hold my content myself to such a high standard at this point, that I kind of made it draining for myself. But some people swear by needing a schedule. Other people don't. I don't think I have enough data to really support one or the other, but I have definitely seen before that, and maybe this is corollary, but the periods where I'm posting very frequently, like just this last month was a high period because the game was ending. There was one final update. The videos start to do better because, you know, you're posting more and more and whatnot. But as far as like how you maintain that schedule, that's kind of just up to you to figure out. And it's up to you to set a quality bar for your videos that is suitable for your schedule. Like I realized 2 years ago or so that this quality bar that I'm setting is not suitable to an every week schedule. This isn't healthy. Pulling all-nighters every day for a week isn't healthy. So then I dialed it back. That was the adjustment that I needed to make. But some people, if you make content that is less edited, you could put that out more often. And so if you're shooting for consistency, shoot for less editing, because you can't really do both unless you hire an editor, and that's expensive.
Right. Great answer. So student Anna Rose asked a business question. She was asking about the revenue streams that a content creator like yourself could typically expect to use, and how do they work? So you mentioned advertising, but what are the different kinds of revenue streams that over time the channel became associated with?
Yeah, for sure. There's your AdSense, which of course is basically the YouTube paycheck. People watch your video, they play ads, you get the paycheck. Then there are sponsorships, which are big one, because that's just an injection of money just for doing an ad. And then outside of that, there are many possible revenue streams that you're going to kind of have to pick and choose depending on what kind of content creator you are. Some people swear by merch. I've never seen the appeal of merch. I don't think the profit margins are there with merch because it's very expensive to make. But some people swear by it. Streaming is another revenue source, because when you stream, you're not only generating revenue from the live stream, and because that YouTube and Twitch will play ads on a live stream, but you're generating revenue when people watch it back as regular ad revenue. And you also, if your community donates to you via like super chats or Twitch donations, those are little, you know, unreliable revenue streams, but they are revenue streams, you know? And then memberships are a big one. Like YouTube memberships, that can be very profitable for people. Patreon can be very profitable depending on the project you're doing. And there are, of course, like other ones that just aren't applicable to me that I wouldn't know about. But you have to start getting creative sometimes. You have to really start looking at, okay, how can I get a little more money out of this while not sacrificing the content, you know? But there are definitely avenues to look at.
There's a final question from our producer, Jess, which is the question on our minds, I think. Do you think you'll eventually find yourself creating an OG animation outside of the Destiny franchise?
Oh, that's a question. Probably, maybe, I don't know. We actually talked a little bit about that. We were talking about, you know, I'm on season 2 of this show, and there's 3 seasons, so I still have a lot to do. But after that, you know, we did talk about the idea of like, well, if we're still really enjoying the animation side of things, but I say we, I really mean me and my buddy Sorcerer, but like, could we look at maybe making the channel like more of an animation platform? You know, something to start telling other stories. And really, it's just going to come down to passion. Like, my current answer to that question would be no, because I don't think I'm passionate about anything else to the point where I'd want to make an original series about it. But you never know. You never know. There sometimes inspiration strikes, and maybe when this show is over, I'll feel like, well, in my mind, I think after I'm done season 3, I will be in the mindset of that was enough creativity and passion for a lifetime, and I'm done. I want a 9 to 5. But you know, maybe us, you know, creatives, maybe that keeps churning. Maybe you're like, no, I want the next thing, and I'm not going to do Destiny again. I want something else. I want something original. I want a challenge. So maybe, but right now the answer is probably not.
Well, you've got a lot of work ahead of you. You've planned out this series. It's going to take a lot of editing hours to put together.
Oh yeah.
And that's maybe one of the themes. You know, if you're going to follow your passion, you know, you got to be prepared to put a lot of hours into it. And you probably wouldn't want to do anything you weren't passionate about.
And I think like a good like footnote to add to that would be, you know, I talked to you guys a little bit about this, you know, when we first met, but the idea, I hear a lot of people say, you know, you should like some people will use the verbiage like I'm gonna manifest 1 million subscribers. I'm gonna make it here because this is like my goal. And I think setting that goal is fantastic. But ultimately, I think it's really important to go into content creation with your expectations low. You know, I said earlier, you know, stay modest, and the only thing you can really control is what you do. And I think it's good to have goals, but it's good to ultimately don't expect anyone else to do anything for you. Don't expect anyone else to watch your stuff. Just expect yourself to do as good as you can and have confidence that you're going to make good stuff. If you go in confident and you go in with low expectations, you can only be pleasantly surprised. And that'll help tremendously when there are low periods, you know, or when certain goals don't happen when you want them to. It's like, it's okay. Just keep making cool stuff. If you know you can make cool stuff, keep making cool stuff. That would be my piece of advice. Internal locus of control is, I think, what they would refer to that as, is helpful.
Yeah, that's great. Great words to live by, regardless of the
Exactly.
medium. Yeah.
Those are great words to live by, and it's a great way to end the show. You know, how to follow your passion, how to become a content creator. Thank you for answering those questions and spending the time to talk about what you do.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Meryl, do you have any last questions for
No, I mean, it's
esteemed
great.
guest?
It's aligned with what we think. You know, whenever I sign off on a post in a class, I say, remain curious, you know, and
yes,
you never know what's around the corner, and that's what makes life interesting. So it's good that you're open to what's next and observe things as they evolve. So thank you so much for your time. This has been terrific.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a lot of fun.
Fantastic. Tristan, thank you so much. We're going to wrap up the show. Thank you everyone who attended. I hope you learned a lot. I certainly learned a lot. And I'm going to be tuning in to Toadsmoothie sometime soon. So thanks again, Tristan, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Yeah, thank you.
Good night.